Hello and welcome to our today's webinar dedicated to our new Synology C2 services, C2 Identity and C2 Transfer. These are our cloud-based solutions designed to help you manage your employees via a cloud directory and provide a secure file transfer solution. I am Evgeniya Paliy, the sales manager on the Benelux market at Synology, and I will be presenting you these two solutions today. Let us start by the C2 Identity service, which is our identity authentication service that also functions as a directory service, and it allows users to securely access the resources of a company. What exactly does it mean and why is it useful? And the answer is, identity is one of the key challenges for the companies nowadays, for small and medium businesses as well as for enterprises. Here is what we expect from identity management. Companies need to manage their employees' accounts on multiple sites and remotely manage their devices, especially useful while working from home. It is important to make the employees access companies' resources, both local services, for example, Synology NAS, and online cloud resources, such as Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce, or Zoom. There should be flexible permission settings, as it is important to grant an employee access only to the files and folders that they should have access to. And also a possibility to create group policies for proper rules management. Why is it a challenge nowadays? Unfortunately, the existing solutions are limited. You probably already know these are the commonly used solutions among SMBs. Directory server on-premises that manages authentication and services. Its advantages are the cost being relatively lower in long term, as it is a long-time investment. No dependence on the internet connection, data security and ownership, which ensures that the data doesn't leave the company. But they are also vulnerable to hardware failures. They are difficult to deploy on multiple locations, whether the employees are working on several sites or working from home. And the maintenance and management of such servers is more complex, as it is a physical server that we should take care of. We see more and more often the cloud directory solutions, what we call identity as a service. Costs for monthly and annual subscriptions are lower and is perfectly adapted for multi-site deployment, with easy connection to the cloud, and of course, everything is managed on the cloud directly, so no maintenance is needed. However, the total cost can turn out to be high, and the recurrent payments can impact the budget. There is a need of a constant internet connection, and the data security in the cloud may be at risk. These downsides are specifically worse for small and medium businesses. For the local directory servers, upfront costs of investment into a physical server could be significant. And it is important to ensure hardware redundancy for high availability of services, and this will also increase the total cost. Also, dedicated IT staff is required, as physical servers need maintenance. Some solutions might be locked in specific ecosystems, and also these solutions don't support cloud services that are more and more used today. Of course, it is also difficult to deploy multiple sites or for working from home, because VPN might slow down the work processes. When it comes to cloud services, they also have their limitations, of course, especially for SMBs. As we have seen, the recurring subscription costs can eventually impact small budgets. Constant and fast internet connection is also required, and there is a limited visibility on all the data storage and processing matters. As you can see, these are fewer downsides for cloud identity solutions, so SMBs would be the ones to benefit the most from it. However, due to high costs, they often don't choose these solutions. Thus, the optimal solution for the SMB to manage its directory would be to mix these two options to better suit their needs, and to have both local server and a cloud server that are efficient, affordable, and easy to use. That is in response to these needs that Synology has developed C2 Identity. What is C2 Identity? It is a cloud identity platform that is based on Synology C2 Cloud. Your directory will be hosted on the C2 Cloud and managed centrally. The advantage of the C2 Identity is that you can use it fully online, but we also proposed local relays to ensure the connection even if the internet connection is lost. Actually, other features are similar to those of the traditional directory server. There is a management of accounts, groups, devices, and external services, and there is a portal for the centralized management of these services. Since it is a cloud solution, the maintenance is very low compared to a local server, as everything will be managed in the cloud by Synology. We provide an end-to-end encryption for the security of data, and we respect GDPR. And the last point, but not least, the solution is free for small businesses and very affordable for larger companies. Indeed, this solution combines at once the advantages of both cloud and local services. Let's discover more features, starting with the main one, the identity management, so the user account management. There is a centralized portal, and therefore the deployment is easy. To create the users, instead of doing it manually, you can import the users from your existing platform, for example, Microsoft Active Directory or Google Workspace. Once users are created, you can centralize the credentials so that the users can connect to multiple companies' resources with one identity. And you also have a possibility to create a local edge server via a Synology NAS or Docker to allow the users to connect locally even if there is no internet connection. The support of group policies as well as assigning and managing employees' devices, both Windows and macOS, is coming later this year. Speaking of the edge server, this is an important matter when it comes to the cloud directory management. If the only way for you to access the service is using internet and for some reason the internet connection is lost, your work processes are interrupted. This is why we have developed the support of edge servers, which allows local synchronization for C2 Identity. You can install edge server locally, and the credentials of employees will be stored securely. For example, if someone connects to a local Synology NAS, the NAS can either check the identity over the internet or without internet locally in order to authorize the connection. The edge server can be installed on Synology NAS or in Docker container. From a Synology NAS, you can connect directly to your directory to manage the access permissions, but also any other local server can connect to a NAS to be able to get the domain information and validate connections locally via the edge server. Let's see an example how it works. Your cloud directory is on C2 Identity that delivers users authentication to the company's services. You also have a local server that is connected to your directory to get the connection information, and you have an edge server that can be a Synology NAS or a Docker container used on site. In this case, when someone wants to log in, the NAS can either connect via the internet or via the edge server. But what if you don't have an internet connection? You still need to be able to connect to the services for proper work. But even in this case, while C2 Identity is not accessible because of the lack of internet connection, your local edge server will continue to provide authentication services because everything is synced locally. Therefore, there is no dependence on the internet connection like in the case of other cloud directory solutions. Let's now see a demo of C2 Identity. As you can see, this is the main interface of C2 Identity, where I can manage my users and groups. I can easily create users manually, but I have to input all information myself. I can also easily import users from Excel file, CSV file, an existing LDAP server or existing Microsoft AD server. I can also manage my groups and make user management easier. In the Group tab, you can easily create groups or modify them. For instance, I want to add our user Ivan into the marketing group. It can easily be done in just a few clicks. Once it's done, the changes are synchronized to all connected Edge servers and cloud services. Let's now see more about Edge servers. As you can see, in the Edge Server tab, I have already assigned the Edge server to C2 Identity. I did it by installing the C2 Identity Edge Server package on my NAS through the Package Center. Now, as you can see, I have joined the domain on the NAS, and we find all the same users and groups that we have created before on C2 Identity. I can use these users and group to grant access permissions. For instance, we can let the marketing group access the marketing folder on the NAS. Of course, in this case, we're using the local resources, but today companies use more and more often also online resources. For example, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Adobe Creative Cloud, Salesforce, or Zoom. These platforms should have a simplified connection. For this, C2 Identity supports SAML and OIDC protocols to provide single sign-on logins to different cloud services by connecting them to C2 Identity. Therefore, the goal is to have a single set of credentials for all the different services that you have, offline and cloud. For example, with the password that I set up on the C2 Identity, not only can I connect to a local NAS, but also to Salesforce. It is also very easy to provision cloud services for the new staff, as well as for those who left the company. You only need to change the settings in C2 Identity, and that will be automatically applied to all the connected services. In addition to that, we also propose a device management possibility. You will have to install a C2 Identity agent that is available for both Windows and Mac, and the computer will be recognized and assigned to a person. It will be then possible to apply group policies. This feature is coming later this year. For example, to deactivate USB devices or to set up screen lock to enhance the security of employees' devices. It is also possible to deploy custom scripts, for example, to install a software centrally. You can also protect the lost devices or those exposed to risk, to lock them remotely, or even to delete everything from them. Finally, there is no dependence on the internet connection for smooth workflow. As you can see, it covers almost all the problems that you might face. You can fully and centrally protect the devices of your employees and make sure it complies with your internal security policies. Speaking of security, our solution is designed to be secure and reliable. C2 Identity uses CRP, Secure Remote Password, which is an authentication protocol that guarantees that Synology doesn't have access to the credentials that you store. Our European data centers are located in Germany, so they are GDPR compliant with DPA, Data Processing Agreement, that is integrated into the conditions by default. The data center is certified ISO 27001, that is one of the most strict criteria for data confidentiality and security. Moreover, we provide encryption at rest at our storage, and all the communication between the NAS and C2 Identity is encrypted from end to end. As you can see, C2 Identity is not only efficient, but also completely secure. Moreover, it's also affordable. This leads us to the pricing part. C2 Identity is free for small businesses. If you have up to 10 devices and one Edge server, you don't have to pay for the subscription. For the larger companies that want to go further, we provide a license system. The business plan is €19.99 per user per year, and is possible to support up to 2,500 devices and 25 edge servers. Don't forget that it's still possible to use the free plan for trial to test if the service meets your needs before deployment, and we are sure it will. Moreover, we provide custom quotes, so if you or your clients are interested in C2, please contact us at the mail address that will be provided to you at the end of this presentation. To sum up, Synology C2 Identity is a solution for cloud directory, solution for users and device management that is efficient, powerful, secure, and affordable for all types of companies. We will now move on to the next topic, because as much as it is important to guarantee the identity and authentication of an employee, it is also important to guarantee the security of the files that these employees will use and transfer every day. That is why we introduced another solution that I would like to present to you today in this webinar, and that is C2 Transfer, our secure file sharing solution. Why is it so difficult today to share files securely? Almost every company has a policy of internal file sharing that is very strict. This means that only certain people can have access to certain files and folders. But the problem is that these policies usually don't take into account the external file sharing, which means that within a small or medium-sized company, the files are shared externally in a not secure way, by emails, by messengers, by chats, uploading them to public cloud, or sometimes using a USB device. Some companies may think it doesn't concern them because they believe their sharing solution is secure, like for example a Synology NAS. But even in this case, these companies would not like to use this server for external file sharing and would wish to have a dedicated cloud. And there are several reasons for it. The first one being to reduce the security risks, because someone external could potentially try to access the NAS. This also can reduce the bandwidth impact, because if you share something that would be downloaded tens or 100 times by many people, this may speed down the connection, especially if your connection is not very good initially. Having a cloud solution could help reduce bandwidth overloading and deport it to the C2 cloud. This also allows to have a better control over the shared files because there is a dedicated interface. And one of the big advantages here for the current situation is that it facilitates the file sharing while working from home. As we mentioned earlier, even the company that have a Synology NAS might still need the secure file transfer solution. And how to choose a solution for that, as there are many criteria that must be accounted. Firstly, of course, the security matter. It's important to choose a transfer solution that is absolutely secure and has end-to-end encryption. It also must comply with the GDPR, of course, and would guarantee that only the destined recipient would have access to the shared file. This means that it shouldn't be possible that someone intercepts the share link and gets the access to the files. It also should be a solution that is easy to set up and to use, especially for small companies that may lack IT resources. And it should also be a solution that provides customizable sharing settings to meet different needs. That is in response to all these criteria that we have developed C2 Transfer, our secure file sharing solution. This is a 100% cloud-based solution and therefore can be accessed from anywhere, and even a Synology NAS is not required for it. You can send or request the files securely, reinforced by the identity verification of the recipient to protect the sharings. There is an intuitive centralized portal and no maintenance is needed because everything is managed in the Synology cloud. In terms of security, this solution provides end-to-end encryption and is GDPR compliant, and moreover, our subscription plans are very affordable. How does C2 Transfer work? One of the biggest advantages of C2 Transfer is that we impose the two-step verification of the recipient to avoid any internal interceptions. So how does it work? It's easy. Let's say Steven wants to share a link with Linda to send her files. He will connect to C2 Transfer. He will choose a recipient, Linda's email, and he will get a share link that he can share with her however he wants. It can be an email or a messenger, it doesn't really matter. And when Linda opens the link, she will need to verify her identity through the one-time password that would be sent to her email. This means that she's the only one who can access the files. Why is it designed this way? Let's take an example. Let's imagine that Steven wants to share a link with Linda and something happened, a mistake or a security error, and an external person managed to intercept the link. This person will try to open it, but then they will be asked to identify with a one-time code that would be sent to the email address of Linda, who was the intended recipient. This external person will not have the possibility to access the files. Therefore, even if the share link is leaked, the third party will not have access to the mailbox to get the OTP and eventually won't open the files. Apart from that, we of course provide advanced features to help you share the files in the most optimal way. You have the validity date customization. You can set it up to 90 days. You have the possibility to limit to only one-time download, for example, for sensitive documents, if you wish that a file can be downloaded only once. We also propose a watermark protection that can be applied on images or PDF documents. We propose a file request possibility that works in the same principle, just the other way around. You send the request for file transfer to an email address. That person will have the access to the interface to upload the documents that would be sent to you. So not only can you send the file securely, but also receive. Where this can be useful, for example, at the travel agency, where they need to collect personal documents from clients, like passports or ID cards, it would of course be important to propose a secure solution for that. For the business accounts, we provide user management, which gives the possibility to give licenses for different users for individual usage, and it's of course compatible with C2 Identity, the solution that we've just discussed, in order to manage all the accounts. To show you how C2 Transfer works, I will do a short demo. We will share a file with someone. Here I would like to securely send some product photos of our DS2422 Plus to one of our media. I will upload the pictures. I can then change the task name to recognize it. I will then set when the link will expire, for example in 2 weeks. I can make sure it can be downloaded only once if I want so. And I can also add custom watermarks with the text that I want that will be applied on the images. This means I can easily protect my important and confidential files. I validate and I can double check if all the watermarks are applied. And once everything is checked, I can go to the next step. I will then type the email address of my recipient. It can also be a phone number. Now I can create a share link. The files are now being encrypted and they are being placed on the cloud. Now that the link is generated, it can be sent to the recipient. Let's pretend I'm the recipient here and I open the link. As you can see, C2 Transfer asks me to confirm my identity to access the files. I input my email address and I must validate a one-time password sent by email. At this point, a third party would not be able to access the data, as only the original recipient of the email can verify this code. This way we are assured that no one can intercept the files. I can then copy the code, insert it in C2 Transfer, and download the files. My files are downloaded to my computer. I can open them. And as you can see, the watermark is indeed here. As you can see, it's very easy to use. It meets the real needs of the users. And of course, in terms of security, there are the same principles applied as to all C2 services, which are the end-to-end encryption. And it's what is important, we at Synology don't have access to your files, which again goes with the compliance with GDPR and make sure that the files that you put online belong only to you. Our data centers are still located in Frankfurt, Germany, like for all C2 services, certified ISO 27001, encrypted at rest for the protection of your data stored at our data center, and all the communications are end-to-end encrypted. I have already mentioned that C2 Transfer is affordable, so now let's see the available plans. Indeed, we are very cost-effective compared to other solutions on the market. The first subscription plan that we provide is professional, that is available for 100 euros per year. You will have one account that can be shared, which is perfect, for example, for a small business like a previously mentioned travel agency. If you're a bigger company and you need several accounts, you have the business plan for 500 euros per year for 5 accounts and 70 euros for every additional account. This is a perfect solution for SMBs or larger companies that need to manage the users and apply different sharing settings. Don't forget that we offer custom quotations. So if you're a company that wants to use C2 Transfer, don't hesitate to contact us to discuss this. Speaking of that, we often receive questions like, I'm the end user or I'm a reseller, where can I purchase C2 subscription? Is there a partner program for that? And that will lead us to the next part. If you're an end user, today you have 2 ways to subscribe to C2. Either directly through the Synology website, or you can contact Synology reseller for C2 services, who will provide you with the subscription via Synology C2 Partner Portal. Keep in mind that at the moment, C2 Partner Portal is only available for C2 storage, which is our solution for backing up a NAS to the cloud, but soon other services will be added too, later this year. I remind you that if you're a company that would like to use C2 services, we can provide you with a personalized quotation, as well as a case study, which is a deployment example shared as a story on our website. The good news is that the case studies are remunerated and you can benefit from up to 1 year free subscription. So if you would like to use any of the available C2 services, don't hesitate to contact us at the email address that you see on the screen. Finally, if you are a reseller, we currently provide C2 Partner Portal, where you can resell Synology cloud solutions. As I said, for now there is only C2 storage, but other services are coming soon too. C2 Identity, C2 Transfer, C2 Backup, and C2 Password. You can receive rebates on all the services that you resell. Our portal is GDPR compliant and includes a data processing agreement. So if you are a reseller and you want to provide C2 solutions, don't hesitate to contact us at the email address to discuss it in more details. This is it for today. I would like to thank you for your attention. Our chat will remain open for the next 15 minutes, so you may continue asking your questions if that you have, and our team will answer you. And again, if you have a project or a partnership request, please contact us at the email address on the screen. Thank you and see you next time.